All right, so today we're talking about how to let go of perfectionism. Live Q&A. You can jump in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling about that and how you're dealing with your own perfectionism. So next question is, when was the last time you were proud of something you created? When was the last time you were proud of something that you created? As creators, as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, even as far as, again, back to parenting and other things, there's so much emotional labor. If we care, there's so much emotional labor that we put into the work that we're doing and leadership that we're doing. How often do we say, hey, Damon, talking to myself, I did a really good job. I showed up as best as possible. How often does that happen? I found that when we kind of get lost in the throes of perfectionism, psychiatrists often talk about voices, not as far as psychiatric, but voices as far as the voice in our head. And there's always a dialogue in our head if you think about it. That's why meditation and other things are so important. Walking long distances, taking long showers, taking a bath, whatever it is that gets you into that zone, taking a nap, because then we're able to separate the voice in our head from our true feelings. It becomes the voices in our head that are saying, yeah, Damon, you screwed up. They tend to be a lot louder than the ones that said, hey, Damon, you showed up really well. Good job. Often it could be lopsided to one particular thing. So when we talk about when's the last time you were proud of something you created, it requires not only pausing and giving yourself flowers, as they say nowadays, um, to a recent action or even a past action that you did, but it also requires hearing that voice that says you did a good job. And that has to be turned up more than the one that says you screwed up. Because personally, the one that says I screwed up, and I have a solid ego too, but that can yell pretty loud. I'm like, why are you so loud? Yes, I know. I know I screwed up this video. Yes. I know I could have said something nicer in that instance. Yes. I know that I sent that out and it had three different errors in it. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yes, yes, yes. As someone said recently, and I wish I could remember who said it over the last few years. It's like, have you tried? I think it might have been Pema Chodron, the monk who I talk about quite a bit on this channel. I think it was something to the effect of, you tried beating yourself up to become a better person. It seems like that didn't work out. How about you try the other way? Actually, give yourself love. It's the same exact argument. We beat ourselves up. We do the self-flagellation, all this stuff, because we think that's going to take us to the next level. Sometimes we do need to be hard on ourselves and show up. Again, this is the 400th episode. I can't thank you guys more, but I had to be hard on myself to show up 400 times. This through a pandemic and little kids and all kinds of personal stuff going on. So sometimes you have to be tough on yourself, but that doesn't mean you have to beat yourself up. Those are two separate things. Discipline is different than criticizing yourself. Discipline is saying, I'm going to show up for you guys at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time, live on Wednesdays as much as physically possible. I'm going to do bonus episodes on Sunday. I'm going to do shorts. All the things are available at bringitworth.tv. Again, you can subscribe below. But the proof is in the pudding. I've showed up for y'all consistently. That's discipline. When I miss episode or it doesn't work out as well as I thought, then that's when I need to be really careful. That's when it's like, okay, we can go into criticism territory. Me beating myself up because I missed an episode or it didn't go as well or my mic was messed up and I didn't realize it or I realized it was spinach in my teeth, whatever the vibe is, that's not going to help get us there. What will help us get us there, though, is saying, I had pride. I was happy. I was thankful that I was able to show up in this particular way. I did it. As I talked about in my newsletter, the link is below, and I mentioned it earlier in the show. You can read it at joindamon.me. There's been so many major transitions I've been through, and frankly, so many people I love have been through a ton of transitions too. It just seems to be that year of transitions. As I talk about the newsletter, the amount of seasons that are changing, it seems like we're between seasons, and it's everything feels like it's in transition. Many of us would not make those three, four, in my case, five different transitions simultaneously that I went through this year would not be possible if I didn't have gratitude and recognize how well I showed up. Even if it wasn't as well as I wanted it to be, it was my personal best. That comes down to creating, that comes down to leadership, that comes down to any endeavor that requires some level of discipline. That's what I'm getting at. If you're going to have that discipline, you need to be gentle with yourself and actually congratulate yourself when you are able to show that discipline. And it might not be to the level that you want, but it might be the best that you can do at this moment. If you want to go deeper into this idea, one of my favorite books by one of my favorite people, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Hope you're doing wonderful, Stephen. Hope you're doing well. Fantastic book. You can see the dog ears and it's turning brown. It's gonna be my complexion in a second. This book is old. I've had it for at least a dozen years. One of my favorite books of all time. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. Stephen talks about quite a bit in here, but it's extremely simple. Again, it's really big type, so it's not a really long book. I want to say it's 120 pages. What am I talking about? It's not even that. You can read it in the afternoon. I like to savor it. I probably read it about once a year or so. He has this argument saying that there's something called the resistance. The resistance is basically saying that voice, going back to voices, that voice in your head that's saying, yeah, you're not good enough. You need a little bit more accreditation. You need a little bit more work, and you're not ready for the public. You're nowhere near the level of these other people who are really the masters at the game. And as you can imagine, his argument is saying, no, actually, you have to fight through that resistance because the resistance is lying. Masters become masters because they do the work. They put their behind in the seat. That's it. And I'm middle aged. His book writing career didn't really start until he was a little bit younger than me. And he's pretty well known now if you're familiar with art and creating and you know the work um, of Elizabeth Gilbert with Big Magic and some of the older The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Like this is in that fashion. And he's one of the leaders in that discussion now for sure. And I've talked with the guy, like he's on that level. What's brilliant about it though is that to be able to find and clarify how you're going to impact the world and how you're going to serve the world at not a young age, that's a different vibe. I think he might have wrote this when he was like 40. The amount of wisdom in here is incredible. And here's to having a life well lived. So shout out to you, Mr. Pressfield. As you know, I love your work. Fantastic book you should have on your shelf. Out of all the books that I recommend here, this one is probably the best one if you're feeling stuck in the energy about it. And exactly, it's in the practice. It's in the practice of doing the work. That's how you become better. And you may never master what it is. I don't plan on mastering, you know, 400 episodes in. I don't plan on mastering hanging out with y'all. Or I'm a keynote speaker. I've done a few TED talks. I'm nowhere near a master at doing those. But that's not the point. How many things do you want to venture at, and then you get it perfect when you do it the first time? What's after perfection? Sounds pretty boring to me. If you want to watch a video that talks about this even more, it's about consistency, the practice, as the comment says. Watch this now, live Q&A. This was probably at the top of the summer, I want to believe. And it's about how to be consistent. And yeah, there's a lot of good tips in there. I'm really proud of this particular episode because something that I talk to a lot of my coaching clients as well as a lot of y'all that watch the show about how to show up consistently. Again, we're episode 400 today. So please listen to some of that advice. And a lot of that advice actually doesn't come from me, but from the Stephen Pressfields and the Elizabeth Gilberts and the people that I honor as far as being wonderful mentors, whether I know them personally, like Stephen, or don't know them personally. I appreciate all of y'all on the journey. So, when was the last time you were proud of something you created? Let us know in the comments. Jump in. It might have been a while ago, or it might have been something earlier today. Even if you don't comment right now, just go through that process because that question will help you realize how loud those critical voices are versus those ones that really just want you to be better, to show up consistently. I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown. I'm here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. This is Bring Your Worth TV. Wednesdays, 1:11. What time is it? 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You can catch it on mess load of platforms right now. But if you want to subscribe to the main base here, you can subscribe right below at youtube.com/Brown Damon or just at bringyourworth.tv. And of course, the complete Bring Your Worth collection is available now. You can also listen to some select live shows on Spotify. You can expect more of that over there. And that's become a really fun platform so far to work with. So today we're talking about, excuse me, how to let go of perfectionism and when is the last time you were proud of something you created.